Okay, let's look at correlation. Let's look at the correlation between pre-test and post-test. I always like to label my cells so that I don't forget or come back to my spreadsheet later and think, what was that? Did I already calculate correlation? Okay, let's see here. Let's calculate full day, half day, and homeschool. Okay, right in here then, for my full day correlation, I am going to come in, pick out my correlation from the statistical menu. Okay, and I scroll down. Whoops, I missed it here. Correl. Correl is short for correlation. Okay, and here I'm going to, in array 1, put my pretest scores. And then in array 2, I'm going to put my post-test scores. And I have to have equal numbers of scores or else Excel won't calculate the correlation. And look right here in the box, right here, that's the correlation that they're going to place in the cell for me. Okay, so that's the correlation between pre-test and post-test of full day children. Let's look at the correlation now. Back down here in my statistical menu for my half-day children, pre-test to post-test. Does it matter which one I put in first? It does not matter. Either way, I'm going to come up with exactly the same correlation. Okay, and finally, let's do right up here in my formula bar again. If you wanted to, you could actually type in equals CORREL, especially if you've been using this for a while and you're really confident, you can go ahead and type these in yourself. I'm going to move my box so that I can highlight my pre-test. And then in array 2, my post-test. Okay, and here's my correlation. Okay, now look at this. These results are going to be a little bit non-intuitive, but interesting. Full day correlation is 0.6, half day was 0.5, and homeschool is 0.8. Usually, the higher the correlation, the happier we are. Like, wow, that's a strong correlation for homeschool. But what that's actually telling you is that the pre-test score of each student is highly correlated with the post-test score. And I want you to think about it this way. In homeschooling, those scores were so highly correlated that pretty much the best way to predict the post-test score was to look at the pre-test. Whereas in half-day, the scores were only correlated with about 0.5, 0.49. That means that there's more going on to predicting that post-test score than just knowing what the pre-test score is. And in fact, I would say that the lower correlation means that the other things that might be going on are instruction, practice, being in school, maybe daily repetition, all sorts of things that weren't happening in the homeschool setting. So, in this case, I would say a less strong correlation could actually be an indication of a more strong and more powerful teaching setting. Think about it. It's kind of fun to consider. And that is correlation in a nutshell.